Right, thanks to the mad scientist who's put together the incredible 2007-2008 database in Football Manager, links to that down in the description, I've managed to put together the Sir Alex Ferguson tactic, the United team that went on to win the Premier League and the Champions League that very famous night in Moscow, the penalty shootout win over Chelsea. I've managed to recreate not only that tactic, but also two other tactics, or three tactics from you today from the Sir Alex Ferguson era. Let's go. Okay, so as you can see, we've won the league. I've done a little simulation just with the attacking version of the tactic to see how it flies in FM. And boy, does it fly. 127 goals in 38 games. We've also won the Champions League, beating Bayern Munich. Runner-up to Spurs in the FA Cup. We won the Carabao Cup or the League Cup, and we've also won the Community Shield. And as you can see, goals galore everywhere. 52 goal contributions from Wayne Rooney. We've had 71 goal contributions from Cristiano Ronaldo. I'll leave a link as well down in the description to the Patreon for a guy that's doing the face packs. Paid a couple of quid to get like over 10,000 faces for this video. I'll leave that down in the description for you. Luis Sahara's come in and scored 32 goals. 48 goal contributions, 51 goal contributions from Carlos Tevez, and 26 goal contributions from Ryan Giggs, and even, 22 from Patrice Evra, and 22 from Nani. Loads of goals. This is how I've put it together. All right, so if you want the direct download files for these, please check out the Patreon down in the description. Really appreciate if you support the channel for like £3 a month. If not, don't worry, I'm going to go through all the variations so you can copy them in to your FM save yourself. As I said, this one right here is the Premier League version, the more attacking version, the one that we've used for the simulation. So, Van der Sar, sweeper keeper on defend. Now, Wes Brown was a little bit of like a wide centre-back, I suppose, in the modern day would be his best position. He filled in quite nicely at right-back. He had that cross in the Champions League where he cut in on his left and sort of like lofted a ball to Ronaldo to head home the opening goal in the Champions League final. Rio Ferdinand. Now, I've decided to go with a cover option. I was going to put Vidic as a stopper, so you could even it up by just going defend, or you could go for that classic cover stopper kind of combination. But Rio Ferdinand, ball-playing defender on cover. Vidic, nothing set, but you could also, you could go in there and go tackle harder if you wanted to. Not completely shocking with his right foot. I did see a couple of highlights and goals that I've been watching of the sort of the 07-08 season, and he was clipping out balls to Ronaldo on a regular basis. So if you really wanted to step it up a little bit, by all means, go on to ball-playing defender. Patrice Evra, we've not gone wing-back because his starting positions weren't that high. His starting positions were quite deep, but obviously when the play progressed, he did like to get round that left-hand side, so we've got him as a fullback on attack. Moving into the midfield, now Scholes was coming into his latter stages of his career, just before his first retirement, 32 years old. Like in the heyday, it would have been like a roaming playmaker and stuff like that, but we've just gone a DLP on support. Carrick's an interesting one because Carrick could have done that role. I think at times when Scholes didn't play, Carrick would move across here and then you would have maybe a box-to-box or a ball winner in, maybe even Anderson, Darren Fletcher, Owen Hargreaves, players like that. But for the Champions League final, we went Carrick and Scholes. Giggs started on the bench in the Champions League final because obviously Ronaldo played on that left-hand side. But generally when he did play, we had him on that left-hand side. If that's Nani, you could maybe change it to Nani. Played a lot, and because he's right-footed, you could probably do the player instruction of cut inside with the ball. Ronaldo on the right, I've just gone wing on attack and then cut inside. Like, he went either way, left and right, would drift in, hit on his left, he would hit the byline. So you're quite free to change that a little bit, but I did think wing on attack, cut inside with the ball. Doesn't mean that he's going to do it all the time. There's been plenty of times when he's got to the byline and cut it across. Winger on attack for that one. And then Rooney roll, DLF on support. Once again, if you wanted to go into the playing instructions, you could probably go tackle harder. And then the Tevez roll, pressing forward on attack. Now, this is the game where you're expected to dominate and win games comfortably. So we've gone attacking mentality, risk-taking with that front three. I want them to be... I want it to be pretty direct. So what we've gone is with wide attacking width, pass into space. Really important when we're counter-attacking. Play out of defence, get the ball to Rio and Vidic. Slightly more direct. We don't want to overdo it. There was often, with Rooney dropping in here, it would be quick passes through the thirds rather than it just been a long ball over the top. Obviously, Carrick and Scholes getting on the ball, so we're going to play out of defence, just that slightly more direct. Higher tempo, as I said, to really, Man United was so good at counter-attacking. Run at defence, obviously, and then be more expressive with that one. In transition, we've gone counter-press, like there wasn't an over-reliance on counter-pressing back in sort of like, it wasn't a thing at the time. But when we're dominating games, we're going to be high up the pitch. These are a lot of those home games against the Premier League sides, maybe the lower opposition in Europe. We want to be pressing and getting the ball back. That would do that naturally. Tevez, Park Ji-sung, Rooney, those sorts of players, very good in a counter-press. And then distributing the ball to the centre-halves. And then out of possession, very simple, high press and high line. That is the first one. That will score you lots and lots of goals. But if you want to tweak it, and you just need to maybe sit in a little bit, the bigger one is maybe for you. Now, what we've changed in here, we've gone a little bit narrower. You could drop the tempo a little bit. We've gone to a mid-block and the other bits are the same. The things that we've changed is on this right-hand side, we're looking at that Park Ji-sung role. So we've got a defensive winger on support. The Ronaldo would generally go and play up front. So we've got an advanced forward in there with Rooney in as a shadow striker. And then we've dropped the two centre midfielders from sort of like 8s to 6s in terms of midfield to DM. So Carrick DM on defend and then Paul Scholes DLP on support. Everyone else, exactly the same. And then the third one is the Champions League final one. So we've got a back four, mid-block once again. There wasn't that natural high press. It was kind of sit off because we want to create in those big games. We want to create that space in behind to exploit. So a mid-block is good. Once again, fairly wide attacking width, slightly more direct. The changes that we've made, defensive winger on the right. Obviously, Ronaldo is going to be that the inside forward there. If we just do the starting 11 from the game, Owen Hargreaves started on. I'm a big fan. I watched the highlights. Owen Hargreaves was, by the way, Man United's team is incredible. Absolutely incredible. The players that we had, the quality, the strength in depth, kind of not so much in the back line because Gary Neville, I don't know how much Gary Neville actually played this season. 32 years old. I know Wes Brown was quite popular at the time, but Evra, Vidic and Ferdinand, absolutely superb. Didn't miss many games. Carrick and Scholes, but then we had Fletcher to come in there, Park Ji-sung, Owen Hargreaves, and then up front, obviously, Ronaldo, Rooney, Tevez, Giggs, Nani, Park Ji-sung, Louis Saha, Anderson was coming in as a youngster as well, Wonder Kid, dear. What a time. What a time to be alive. So there's the Champions League one. DLF for Rooney, pressing forward for Tevez, Hargreaves, defensive winger on support, Ronaldo, inside forward on attack. I've played these games myself, so we've started absolutely incredibly well. Chelsea 3-2, 3-0 up after 10 minutes. So this shape is from the attacking one, and as you can see, Ronaldo does sit in to make a four. Obviously, Rooney's playing as the DLF, coming and working hard, winning the ball, we pounce, we break. Like the transitions with Manchester United was so good, and we were getting these immediately. Like you can imagine just Wayne Rooney sweeping that home from Ronaldo cutback. And then once again, Scholes out to Giggs. I think this was a second phase from a corner. Patrice Evra getting in there. I'm pretty sure that was a second phase from a corner. And then once again, we're building good play from Wes Brown, just backing up play, giving the ball to Ronaldo. Giggs laying it back, and Rooney once again. That's the DLF. I think there's always a thing with the DLF that he's not going to get into the penalty area, especially when he's got a pressing forward against him. But it's not. In build-up, he'll drop off. But as soon as the ball's worked out wide, if we just bring it back and just look at his movement a little bit. So he's there, he's Rooney. So the ball comes out. And he's staying quite high, look. Yes, maybe now there's an option where he could maybe drop off. Look, he's asking for it. He's put his hand up for it to be put in the middle. And he gets in the box. Obviously, the goal before that, though, he was dropping off and he was winning the ball back and helped us to transition and counter. We absolutely slapped Manchester City in the derby, starting really well. This is the first minute, like box occupation. We've got Giggs in there, Rooney in there, Tevez in there, Evra backing up play, Scholes backing up play, Carrick's in a really good rest defence position. Who does the ball? I don't know if he bounced. Yeah, Giggs eventually at the back post, tapping in. He was always cool at the back post, Giggs, just side footing home. Second phase from corners. Like, that's not happening in a million years, is it? Let's be honest, from Vidic. But that's FM for you. And this one, again, just playing quickly through the third. Scholes, lovely pass. Watch this pass. Into Giggs. Giggs on his bike. Little pullback. And there's Rooney sweeping home. Always so good at that in his pomp. Now, look at those stats. Manchester City had an XG of 0.01 from their one shot on goal. We had 19, 3.31. Having said that, it isn't the Manchester City. There's Mika Richards, Richard Dunn, Carl Lucas, Sunji Hai, Dieter Hamann, Gelson Fernandez, Michael Ball, Alana, who was a decent player, Vassell and Roland Bianchi, with people like Bozhinov on the bench, Michael Johnson, Impenza, Usman Darbo, Kasper Schmeichel. Yeah. Wasn't a great Manchester City team, but we absolutely slapped him. And then we went to Anfield. It's very interesting. If you just look at the heat map from the game, we still played the sort of like the attack in the Premier League tactic. Look how narrow Ronaldo is. Right in there in the centre of the pitch, cutting inside, expressing himself, getting on the ball, not hugging onto that touchline. And it was Wayne Rooney, 25th minute goal. It was an even game, to be fair. We've edged it, well, we've more than edged it with XG. Giggs to Evra, lovely pass. Once again, box occupation, getting in. I don't think we've got low crosses on. I've left it on mixed, but the amount of low crosses we're getting is absolutely fantastic. Obviously, Wayne Rooney and Tevez not the biggest. Ronaldo was great in the air, but those low little cutbacks are absolutely lethal. And then 3-0 Aston Villa. Some set-piece goals, but 33 attempts on goal, 16 on target, massive XG, 62% of the ball. Absolutely tremendous. All right, guys, that is it. Go and check out the Mad Scientist. I've helped him out, supported him on his Patreon. Link down in the description, but I do believe the database is free. Also, check out the player packs as well, the stuff that I've got from the other guys on Patreon. If you want my tactics, check out my Patreon, and we'll see you later in the week. We've got Filippo Inzaghi, and my big tactical blueprint is coming next week. So make sure you subscribe to the channel. Enjoy it. You'll have lots of fun. Yeah, and that's it. When Man United were pretty damn good.